think it's pretty well known that I've been having anti-wrinkle injections such as Botox for the last 6 years. I've always used the same guy, and I absolutely trust him to make sure that they're safe. But the thing is that so many people are now getting these treatments, and some are pushing it to the extreme. So the question I want to know is, are all of these practitioners as responsible as mine?
The facial aesthetics industry is now thought to be worth almost £3 billion. And even high street shops are jumping on the bandwagon to cash in. Many blame the rise on social media and reality television. But the pursuit of the perfect pout to copy the stars is not without risk. So as the business and in some cases the lips get bigger, what does that mean for the people having it done? I want to find out why some people push these procedures to the extreme. So I've arranged to meet Kayla and her mum, Georgina. They've spent tens of thousands of pounds in a quest to look like their idol, Katie Price.
Do you remember that first moment you had something done?
It was probably about 6 years ago now. I just remember really wanting it done. And I
Why?
got it. There's a lot of pressure on being a young girl nowadays, like the whole Kim Kardashian thing and the selfie thing and Instagram. And as a young girl, you're not 100% secure and happy with yourself. So if there's things you can do and you've got the money, you go and do them.
How big were your lips at their biggest?
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, I can't even look at pictures now. But at the time, that's what I liked.
What was your reaction, Mum?
I thought they looked quite nice, didn't they?
Yeah.
When you look in the mirror, Georgina, are you happy with your look?
No.
Well, you want more and more, or
Well, I find it quite addictive.
do you? Would you say it's an obsession?
I wouldn't say it's an obsession. I'd say, but I have to have it done. But if I don't have it done, I think, oh no, it needs doing, this needs doing, that needs doing.
But these treatments don't come cheap. And Kayla caught the headlines when she raised the cash by stripping and then started a relationship with a sugar daddy to pay for both her procedures and her mum's.
But this was a married man who you were having sex with for money. Did you fall in love with him?
No.
What sort of mother allows her 18-year-old daughter to actually dance and sleep with older men in return for cosmetic procedures?
Well, I didn't actually know at the time.
It's disgusting. If my 18-year-old daughter was sleeping with a 50-year-old man in return for money to have her boobs done or her lips, I wouldn't think of myself as a very good parent, Georgina. You've got to answer
He
that.
paid for my boobs before I slept with him.
Your mother's got to answer it. How does that make you feel now?
Rubbish.
Why? Truthfully.
Because it's not the right thing to do, is it? It's not right.
Fascinating for me, that. There's Kayla, admits that from a young age she did almost anything she could to get the procedure she wanted. But she's seen the light, and I respect her honesty. The mother comes across as very obsessional about it, and I sort of leave here today thinking I have got a grip of her, but I'm not sure why.
Another problem with these injections is that they can have serious complications, and good practitioners are expensive. Anti-wrinkle treatments are charged per area, so getting your forehead done could set you back £200, and dermal fillers are about £300 per mil. Young girls with less disposable income often look for cheaper deals, and they find some of them on social media and voucher sites. The increase in demand has fueled a rise in people doing these injections to make quick money, but they may have little or no training, and some even lie about their credentials. 19-year-old Neve told us that her practitioner said she was a nurse.
As soon as I said that my mum worked in a local hospital, she panicked. I could see the panic in her face. And as soon as she had done them that day, I said, there's a lump sitting in my lip. And she was like, just massage it, and then left.
Just a few days later, it became clear there was a more serious problem.
I woke up in the middle of the night and my lips were literally stuck to the pillow. I had to pull the pillow off my face. Pus was leaking from my lips. It was like a burn wound, and I had to clean it with salt water every hour. I was just kind of hoping it would slowly go away. But I eventually got an emergency doctor's appointment, and the doctor said that if I left it any time longer, I could end up with septicemia because it was such a bad infection. I thought it was just like a simple treatment that I was getting done, and it could have killed me.
Neve will never know what caused the infection because the practitioner blocked her on Facebook.
Looking back on it, I know it was my fault for not researching more, but I still don't think it's fair that she's done that and I've trusted her.
Last year, almost 1,000 people reported suffering complications. And when the data was analysed, it was found that almost half of them were young people, aged between 18 and 25. 2/3 related to dermal fillers, and 72% of those were lip injections. It's clear there are problems and complications in this industry, and I want to know why there seems to be an increase. So I've arranged to meet Ashton Collins from Save Face, who produced this report. She's also created a government-approved register of practitioners to try to help people make safer choices.
If you look at the industry from where it started 20 years ago, it was a practice that was very much in the hands of medical practitioners, so doctors, nurses, dentists. So no legislation was created because it was only those groups of people doing it.
Yeah.
And, quite literally anybody can do these treatments. And so it's catapulted to a whole new level where it's almost impossible to police.
It's pretty frightening if you're Joe Public, isn't it? That you could fall for something that is unclean, unsafe. People don't know what they're doing.
It's terrifying. And we see the extremes of that where people have set themselves up ordering products over the internet. They haven't done any training. They've watched a YouTube video. And lip fillers can have horrible, really serious consequences if something bad happens. So something that you think might make you look better now could end up leaving you permanently scarred.
You believe it should be a medical practitioner, don't you?
Yes, and that's for a variety of reasons, not only for safety, but for getting great results. But actually, it's their duty of care. They're accountable to a statutory register. A nurse, doctor, dentist, or a prescribing pharmacist could face getting struck off. Beauticians are accountable to nobody.
I'm surprised that there is no universal regulation for this industry when the procedures can have dangerous consequences. And if practitioners can cut corners and there's no comeback, then I can see how hard it is for customers to work out who to trust. I want to know whether social media and voucher sites are the only place to find these unscrupulous injectors, or if there are problems on the high street too. One salon we found, Beauty Box by Maggie, has a slick-looking website which says they have a team of qualified medical professionals.
Good afternoon, Beauty Box.
Am I okay to book in with Maggie?
Yeah, that's no problem.
But we found out that Maggie, who carries out most of the treatments, is not on any UK medical registers.
That's not been booked in for you, Rachel, so we'll see you then.
Great, thank you.
Coming up,
Yes, it's Rachel. I've got an appointment with Maggie.
we go undercover to see if we can get to the bottom of why there are complaints about this salon.
When are you using it? You just put it on your lips.
Communal numbing cream.
Oh my God, even I picked up on that.
And I meet the owner of an aesthetics training academy who thinks there's nothing wrong with non-medics providing treatments.
Is it morally right for you to train beauticians when there's no regulatory body controlling what you do, or in fact, at the end of the day, what they do when they're trained by you? About money, isn't it?
Earlier in the programme, I learned that the facial aesthetics industry is almost completely unregulated.
Quite literally anybody can do these treatments, and it's catapulted to a whole new level where it's almost impossible to police.
I heard from a girl who paid the price of a poorly skilled practitioner.
Pus was leaking from my lips. I had to clean it with salt water every hour. It was like a burn wound.
Later, we put a high street salon to the test when we go undercover.
Sounds a little bit, it's got foreign writing on it by the looks.
People just wouldn't know, would they?
But now I'm heading to Cosmetic Couture, one of the UK's largest training academies for aesthetics. It's not compulsory to do these courses, but many of the more responsible practitioners do.
Stop pushing, take the needle out. Okay? And next.
Training is also unregulated, so the quality can vary massively, But the owner of this academy, Maxine, says she wants to raise standards.
Good firm stretch deeply, darling. Knee in.
This is a lip filler masterclass. Petra's a beautician and was trained by Maxine. Today she's teaching India.
How long does this course take?
Depends if they come for just 1 day course, just to get some new techniques on whatever they've been trained before.
So when you came here today, you don't worry about doing it, you just think you can be better.
Yeah.
How much is this course today?
I can't remember. I booked a few. I've been here for a few days.
Does it concern you as a professional that there are a lot of unprofessional people doing this?
Definitely. And especially it's making bad name for non-medics. And then if you see some training academy like us, we train non-medics and the standards are really high.
But training non-medics such as beauticians is controversial.
This is just a little bit about cosmetic couture. It's being founded by Maxine, who's sitting behind us.
These injections can have dangerous consequences, and non-medics don't have a professional body to regulate what they do. These students are all beauticians, and their teacher, Laura, is a registered nurse.
So you guys are training to do the fillers and the Botox, and you haven't done any of that practically. This is part of it.
Yeah, this is where you start.
What made you four decide that you would come here?
It's the next step on in your, the future of your business.
How long's the
Don't know
course?
if it's 3 days here, but...
How much does it cost?
I say that.
Everybody looks at the same person. It's like filming in North Korea. How much does the course cost?
3,500.
That's a lot of money. You'll do this and then you'll start.
Straight away.
There's clearly a lot of money to be made here. But for me, no matter how good these courses are, there's no industry standard to adhere to. So can non-medics such as beauticians really learn enough to keep people safe? I want to ask the company director, Maxine. You've created a business for bringing beauticians
And
in.
medics.
Is it more beauty therapists, do you think?
I would say 60% beauty therapist, 40% medic.
That a doctor needs to train for 5 years to decipher everything about the anatomy. In 3 days, you can come to Cosmetic Couture and learn enough about this, yes?
I'd say it's obviously not on par, but it gives you a general knowledge of how the body functions, how it works. If a nurse leaves the NHS because she's poorly paid to go on
Yes.
an aesthetic course,
Yes.
does a half-day course,
Yes.
does a training, goes out and does it, is she going to be great at doing it? Does she act morally?
Maybe not, but I'd feel more confident that if I had a fit or a seizure, that she'd be able to look after me than somebody from a local hairdresser's who decided to make a few quid by sticking
Well, they're not all
needles
local
into people's
hairdressers
heads.
that
All right,
train
I'm giving
here.
you an example. You keep saying nurses, I keep saying beauticians in salons.
Well, what if they're trained in first aid anaphylaxis? What if they have an EpiPen to hand? What if they have higher
Isn't there more chance of a nurse or a medical professional having that than a person from a
No,
salon?
not from here.
Is it morally right for you to train beauticians when there's no regulatory body controlling what you do, or in fact, at the end of the day, what they do when they're trained by you? Morally. It's about money, isn't it?
No.
Come on.
It's not about money. A dental nurse, although she's a healthcare professional, now they're doing treatments. Physiotherapists, podiatrists who deal with the foot. So why are they going to be good at the face? Just because you're a medical professional doesn't mean you're going to be fantastic at that job. I want there to be regulations. I want there to be a mandatory body. I want people to be answerable.
Why don't you stop doing your business until that happens?
Because I'm doing a good job on what I'm doing.
That kind of surprised me today, to be honest. You can't fail to be impressed by what Maxine showed us at Cosmetic Couture. They seem very thorough. She says they're one of the best training centres in the UK. That's what she says. She also says there's no regulation, and there is, at this point, no governing body. And that's the point of this whole story.
Our next stop is the High Street.
Hi. Yes, it's Rachel.
We've spoken to several unhappy customers about Beauty Box by Maggie, so 2 of our team are going undercover.
What are you doing today, Botox and filler?
Yes.
Have you been in before?
No, I haven't.
I want to know if the lack of regulation means that some salons are cutting corners too.
Let's take a look at this and tell me what you think as we go through.
So I've brought our footage to show Ashton from Save Face.
Have you had treatment done before?
No, it's first time.
Yeah. We'll get you to fill out a form.
So it's the receptionist actually asking the questions. Usually the clinician would be the one to do that during the consultation.
On the side here, the flowers are there's like little tubes of numbing cream. If you want to use it, you can put it on your lips.
Okay.
Give it 10 minutes and then maybe pull you through.
Oh gosh, so communal numbing cream.
Oh my God, even I picked up on that.
Oh, God knows how many people have actually used that.
So you don't see a clinician, you see a receptionist, it could be anybody, and she says, oh, when you've done the form, can you just put the cream on your lips?
Yeah, before you even know that you're suitable for treatment, you're numbing up.
And I don't do that for the forehead, it's just the...
I mean, it's so casual. They really are just trying to minimise the amount of time they spend with the person injecting.
There's no time, is
No.
there?
And it's not long before we meet Maggie.
You can come to my room anyway.
Thank you.
What are your lips and what else?
I'm looking for Botox in my forehead.
Okay, that's good.
And then lip filler.
Okay, if you lie down and I can cleanse, she will still administer the...
I will do it. Don't worry. Lie down.
Okay. So straight down on the couch, no sit down, let's have a chat about your expectations.
Because it was my first time, I just kind of wanted to ask you a few things about
Yes,
it. Just
that's fine.
So with the Botox, what product do you use?
I use Azarol.
Azalea.
Sounds a little bit, it's got foreign writing on it by the looks.
I can't understand it though. What language is it in?
Sorry?
What does it? I can't read it. What does it?
No, that's the one. It's English, but
Oh right, okay.
It's English, can't understand it.
No, it's English.
And is it the same with the filler then? Is there different fillers or?
exactly the same. Is what we use Figaro, the ones which are...
That's from France from Paris.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like all the products are imported from
Yeah.
abroad.
Buying products from abroad can be dangerous. They might not meet UK standards and could even be fake. There are strict laws set by the government's regulatory authority about importing them, but the products we were shown didn't appear to comply.
Any other questions?
I think the other thing somebody was saying to me that when they had Botox, she had to see somebody else first, and then she got a prescription.
We have a doctor as well. He's working here, yeah, and he's prescribing the Botox, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not a doctor, you have another doctor that does that?
Yeah, we are nurses.
Oh wow, so you can see they've got
not-
incredibly
it's not
cagey.
So she doesn't need to see the doctor then, it's fine, you can just see her and, yeah.
And then
We don't abide by the law.
People just wouldn't know, would they?
There might not be any regulations about who can do these injections, but anti-wrinkle products such as Botox and Azulure are prescription-only medicines. That means customers have to have a face-to-face consultation with someone who can write a prescription, like a doctor or a dentist, before they can get the medicine for the injection. We know that Maggie doesn't have prescribing rights, so if she administers the drug, she's breaking the law. The team need to get out.
I think I'm just freaking out a bit.
If you're not ready, then just wait.
Okay.
yeah. And she doesn't actually need... Let's say your frown, let's say.
Do I like
No,
the
and lifts. Yeah.
Oh, she's now saying she doesn't need it.
That doesn't need it.
You're still really young.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the lips suits your face.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
so...
Thanks for explaining it all to me though.
That's all right.
Oh, thank you.
All right, bye.
You can see why these young girls see these treatments as nothing more than just another beauty treatment, because that's how they're treated. We've had reports before that Maggie imports her Botox and her fillers from Poland, which explains why she's able to offer such cheap treatments. And to be honest, that a reputable treatment with a reputable person would have cost you maybe £100 more.
But I guess the issue is there's nothing that anybody can bring to bear against her for that. That's the point about having a governing body, right? Because
Yes.
she's a beautician. She doesn't have to answer to anybody.
We contacted Maggie regarding her casual attitude to these treatments. We asked her to explain the foreign products she uses, what professional credentials she has, and why she administers medicines without a valid prescription. But she never replied. We also contacted the Department of Health to ask them about the lack of regulation and the impact on safety. And they said they're concerned about the growth of risky cosmetic procedures being delivered by poorly regulated practitioners. They acknowledge that we're in danger of cosmetic procedures becoming like going to the hairdressers, but that the risks associated with the procedure going wrong are so much worse. So they say they are currently exploring options to strengthen regulation and improve safety through better training, robust qualifications, and better information, so people can make informed decisions about their care. But until the industry is regulated, it's become clear in our investigation that there are lots of practitioners wanting to make quick money who can't be held accountable to a governing body for bad practice. And that's putting people at risk. So for now, I want to know what people can do to minimise that risk.
Before you embark on any treatment, consider it as a medical treatment. Make sure you go to a reputable healthcare professional. Use a register so you know who they are, you know that they're insured, you know that they're trained. Don't go on social media to find a practitioner, because you'll see, somebody's got 100,000 followers, but it doesn't mean that they're a skilled injector, and it doesn't mean that they're not causing a mass of complications. It just means that they're good at social media. Don't just go off the street on a whim and have these treatments done, because inevitably you'll pay the price.